It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Conversations with Joan. Conversations with Joan will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life's Conversations with Joan. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Have you ever looked at a successful person and wondered what he or she knew that you didn't? What is the secret to their success? According to today's guest, McCarthy, success is a system, not a secret. May's here today to talk about her practical program that anyone can use to achieve success in all areas of life. May has helped start and grow 6 companies to as large as $100 million in annual revenues. May is the author of the best-selling book, The Path to Wealth, and The Gratitude Formula, a 7-step success system to create a life that you love. Welcome, May. Thanks for joining us.
Joan, thank you for having me on. It's nice to be here.
So, May, your new book is called The Gratitude Formula, and from doing this work for more than 3 decades, what have you learned? How does gratitude factor into a person achieving success?
Well, gratitude is one of those things that lots of studies have shown is actually a wonderful element for health and well-being. It helps to calm you down. It makes you sleep better. Lots of studies that are outlined in my book show this. But what I've done is use gratitude as a way to focus my attention on something that I want to grow or something that I want to manifest as a goal. It tends to accelerate my noticing possibilities to take steps to achieve those goals.
It's interesting because I think when people are talking about success or achieving goals, I'm not sure that they factor gratitude into that equation. So is it in the noticing of it that you think propels you, or what aspect of gratitude do you really think drives a person?
Well, I think giving you an example might help. When I was 19, I started the first of 7 businesses. And what I found was I ran sales organizations, and I would get very excited with my employees when we would meet certain sales goals. And somehow it dawned on me that if I could be grateful for achieving those goals in advance, that perhaps we could all get motivated and achieve them sooner. And that's exactly what happened. So we started to be grateful, choose to be grateful for achieving our goals before we ever actually achieved them. And more times than not, we actually were successful in not only achieving them, but achieving revenues beyond what our original goal was.
May, would you go so far as to say that gratitude should be the foundation on which everything else is built?
Well, it kind of depends on different, what the goals and priorities are. Being grateful for what you want to have manifested or what you want to grow in your life. Being grateful for it in advance can help. It can help you to notice possibilities. It can also put you in that calm state where you can notice intuitive and subconscious directions that will point out possible steps for you to take. I'm not the only one that believes this. But one of the most influential women of our time is Oprah Winfrey, and she said if you're grateful, if you're thankful for what you have, it tends to multiply and you'll have more. But if you're always focusing on lack, you'll never have enough. So shifting your attention to being focused on what you want and then being grateful for it in advance tends to help it to multiply and grow, and also instructs your subconscious to point out possible steps that you can take. And here's an example. If you recall the last time you bought a car, you thought about a car, you looked at all the different models, you talked to your friends, your family, and maybe subject matter experts, and you narrowed down the different kinds of cars that you want to maybe 1 or 2 models. Maybe you even went and test drove a car. You're thinking about it, you're talking about it, you're being grateful because you figured out how you're going to finance it. Don't you start to notice that car driving around everywhere? You never noticed it before, but now that you've started to generate these feelings of gratitude and excitement about having that car, you start to notice it. Your subconscious filters billions of pieces of data that are coming at you every day and illuminates things that are in alignment with what you're putting your attention on and what you're putting your gratitude on. And that can be the same for any goal that you have. If you want to, lose 10 pounds, instead of saying I want to lose 10 pounds, say I'm so grateful that I'm physically fit, trim, toned, energetic, and a healthy body that easily moves through life. And what will happen is possible steps will show up, or people will come into your life that have some wonderful thing to share with you that is consistent with your goal for health.
May, in your book, you write about a CSO. What does CSO stand for?
Well, I believe that everyone has the ability to receive intuitive directions. Bill Gates said often you have to rely on intuition, and lots of famous people rely on intuition. And I've found that I get gut instincts, strong thoughts and ideas, an awareness about taking some sort of action, and I roll all that up into intuition. Well, for me, there's a source for that intuition, and I don't really get hung up on what to call it. But as a business person, as a CEO, I surround myself with people whose advice I value. And I have chief financial officers and chief operating officers, chief marketing officers, and so on. Well, I decided that there must be a source for this intuition, so I gave it a title, and I brought it into my business, and I call it the Chief Spiritual Officer. It's essentially the source of intuition that guides and directs me and illuminates possibilities for me to take steps to achieve my goals.
As I've been growing my business, I have been relying more and more on my intuition, and I'm going through having to make a business decision right now, and I know in every cell of my body what I need to do, because every time I think about it, I literally feel sick, but it's just getting that courage to take action. So I think that this is a great practice to incorporate into your business and into your life.
Right, and if you are feeling nervous, if you get some sort of intuitive hit, that's what I call these leads, these intuitive leads. If you get an intuitive lead about anything, and you feel really unsure or scared or filled with doubt, simply ask for another lead. And that's where this title, Chief Spiritual Officer, comes in, because if you were in a business setting, you would ask your business partner to clarify some information that they gave you if you didn't understand it. And you can do the same with this source of intuition. Again, I don't know what it is. I admire people that have faith and can actually, call it something that's endearing. And I give it a title, because I believe it's a subject matter expert that provides information that's consistent with what I'm putting my attention on.
So May, let's look at your gratitude system. Can you give us an overview of the program and tell us a little bit about why it's so powerful?
Sure. Well, the very first thing that you want to do is recognize that you're already powerful. You've already proved that you can achieve goals. Think about when you learned to drive a car or ride a bike or read. All of these things were difficult for you to do when you first started, but you put in repetitive practice every single day, and you noticed other friends and family and other people that were achieving and mastering driving a car, riding a bike, reading, and even typing on that crazy keyboard that's not even in alphabetical order. All of these things are things that you learn to do using repetition to reap the reward. And now you could probably drive home from work or a variety of places that you go often and not even remember large parts of your drive home. Well, that's because you've used repetition to master the situation, and that's probably the biggest key component in the system for success, is recognizing that you've got to do something every single day to stay focused on what you want outcomes to be. The second thing is to recognize how your brain works. Your brain remembers every single time that you had a goal in the past that you did not achieve, and it remembers how disappointed you were. and it doesn't want you to be disappointed again. So when you have a goal that's bigger than anything you've experienced before, or different than anything you've experienced before, in an effort to try and protect you, your brain will sometimes put those intuitive messages on mute so that you can't notice the steps to take. So what you have to do is make what you want familiar and welcome by reading stories about other people that have achieved the kind of success that you want to achieve. And also, if it's a particular item that you want to experience, a new car or a new house or something, go to places where you can actually experience those things that you want. As you start to gather stories about other people who were just like you when they started and understand their journeys, what you'll start to realize is, wow, if they could do it, I could do it. So many very, very famous people, we look at them and think their success is unattainable. But if you go back and look at where they started, many of them have started from places that were much more simple and modest than many of your listeners. And the point is that as they started to increase their belief in possibility, doors started to open, opportunities started to present themselves, and they had the courage to take advantage of those. And everybody can do that as well. They've already proved how powerful they are. So recognize how your brain works and make what you want familiar and welcome. Start to believe that if they can do it, you can do it as well. Those are the two key components of this. And then there are a number of other steps. Just to remind you, don't try and force anything, because if you try and force something to happen and you fail, then you have to start all over at the beginning, making what you want familiar and welcome and shifting those beliefs so that your brain will take those intuitive messages off mute.
May, how important is it for us to set goals? Do you think too many people go through life just letting things happen without having some type of a plan?
It's my belief that if people don't program their own subconscious, then other people will program it for them. Every day we wake up and have an opportunity to decide to create the life that we love. And many of us will wake up and turn on social media, turn on the news, read newspapers, and fill our minds with stuff that other people think are important. And what happens is as we go out throughout our day, because we've allowed that to be programmed into our brain first thing, we'll start to notice more and more evidence of that occurring. And sometimes it's the very thing that we don't want to have happen. The other thing is that people aren't using the right words. I mean, think about that goal, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to get out of debt. If the goal is to be wanting to lose or wanting to get out of debt, they've already achieved the goal. They're already wanting. So they have to shift their words and create powerful goal statements. They want to describe their goals every single day. They want to write it down, they want to read what they wrote out loud, and they want to imagine being in the completed goal with gratitude. So they would say, I'm so grateful that I'm financially free with a minimum or more of X number of dollars while I'm using my skills and talents in remarkable and fulfilling and satisfying ways. I love working with the people that I work with, and together we advance a mission that is very meaningful to me, that supports the growth of our customers, and all of us together thrive and prosper. I love my work. You see the difference? Even if they don't have a job yet, if they describe that, what's going to happen is they are going to be intuitively guided, and their subconscious is going to illuminate possibilities to make those statements true. So they've got to program their own subconscious, and I recommend that people do that every single day. Write down your goals as though they're complete with gratitude. Speak them out loud. What you just wrote, read it out loud with emotion. And then finally, take a few minutes and think about one of your goals and see yourself in the movie after you've already achieved the goal.
May, we're usually proficient at starting a program. We begin something with such enthusiasm, and we feel that we can take on the world when we do. But then Usually, before too long, we seem to give up or whatever it is we've been trying to accomplish falls to the side. Do you have any tips that can help us stay committed to a success system?
Yes. Have patience and do it just the same way that you brush your teeth. Just do it. You want good dental health, you brush your teeth every day. You don't think about it. You don't go, should I brush my teeth or shouldn't I? No, if you want good dental health, you just brush your teeth. And you know that you do that every single day in order to prevent poor dental health. Well, you do this the same way. You do this every single day. Set aside 25 to 30 minutes in the morning every single day to program your brain for success. Inc. magazine, there's a writer there that had read my first book called The Path to Wealth, and she marveled, and she said, this is really a simple morning routine to prime your brain for success. And here's what I will tell you and all your listeners. If you don't program what's important to you first thing in the morning, the rest of the world gets to program it for you. And why would you give up that kind of power to other people when you can create, when all you have to do is keep your goals at the forefront of your thoughts first thing in the morning, and then things will shift to enable more possibilities to show up and present themselves for you to experience that good that you've described. You're worth it. All of your listeners are worth it. They get the opportunity to do this, and I hope they'll set aside that 25 to 30 minutes every morning for themselves. They're worth it.
The book is The Gratitude Formula, a 7-step success system to create a life that you love. If you'd like to get more information about May and her work, you can visit maymccarthy.com, or as always, you can visit our website, cyacyl.com, which stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. May, in our final moments, what's the takeaway? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
I would like them to remember how powerful they are. They've already learned all of these things that could be very, very difficult for somebody just starting out. They've learned to drive. They've learned to ride a bike. They can go years without riding a bike and get back on a bike and balance on 2 wheels. I mean, that's incredible. They can read. They can skim entire pages and get the same understanding, but at one time they had to sound out each letter and each word and struggle to put it in a sentence, in a paragraph, in a story. And they've learned to type on that crazy keyboard. They've already proved that with repetition and practice and recognizing that if other people could do it, they could do it. They've already proved that this kind of system works. Now all they have to do is apply it to creating the life that they love.
May, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your formula for success. As you just said, we are very powerful, and your program gives us inspiration and structure to help us achieve a rich life. So thanks for sharing.
So happy to be here, Joan. Thank you.
This is Conversations with Joan. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.